JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Tea Time with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 30th of June 2020, so yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's afternoon live session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, just a quick recap of some of the instruments that we looked at this morning, just to see how everything's getting along. And yep, before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump in, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now then, jumping into the charts straight away. Now here, I just want to quickly touch on the FTSE 100, just a quick update from the what I was talking about it this morning. So basically the index is drifting lower today, however, as you can see, and remains kind of within this pattern, within this triangle pattern, or in other words, between these two lines, the short-term tentative upside one taken from the low of the 22nd of May, and the short-term downside one taken from the high of the 8th of June. So in a way, what I was saying this morning, that as long as the price continues to trade within that area in between these two lines, we will stay a little bit on the neutral side, because preferably we need to see a violation of one of those lines before we could consider the next directional move. In addition to that, of course, just to kind of strengthen either of the directions, let's say for the upside, a push above the 6,342 level could do the trick here for more buyers, where we could then aim for the highest point of June initially near the 6,512 territory, and yep, we would take it from there. And in terms of the downside, if we get a break of this short-term tentative upside support line here, and also a drop below the 5,962 territory, then yes, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low and further declines could be possible. Now then, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. So the index yesterday closed in the positive territory, so managed to recover somewhat and basically kind of confirmed this idea of a possible kind of descending triangle here. However, we're not going to rush into anything yet, because even if we do get ourselves and if this is a nice descending triangle, we would still prefer to wait for a drop below the psychological 25,000 territory here, which is around the lower bound of this so-called of this pattern, and then consider further declines. So basically, a nice daily close below the 25,000 territory could do the trick here for more sellers. And in terms of the upside, we would still need to wait for a break of the upper side of this triangle, and in addition to that, ideally maybe a push above the 26,294 territory, somewhere around here, and then kind of we could consider higher levels, because here what we don't want to see here is, for example, if this downside line gets broken, the index pushes higher but fails to move above this little territory right here, the one that I've mentioned, the 26,294, or even maybe 26,300 zone. If it fails to move above that and then reverses back down, then we would be getting ourselves somewhat of a range here, so a short-term range. But again, this is just something for you to kind of keep in the back of your heads. That's why we do have the I do have this upside scenario from around here somewhere. well, not somewhere, but from the 26,294 territory, roughly around there. Now, jumping into silver very quickly. So silver is kind of unchanged, I would say. I mean, it has violated this downside line, the one that I talked about previously. This one's taken from the high of the 2nd of June. So in a way, it kind of got violated, and to be honest, we're gonna get rid of it, because for now, looking at this picture, it's a little bit tricky here. I mean, the commodity is moving sideways, I would say. However, sideways, but remains somewhat above this 21-day EMA. So the only kind of good support that we see here is from this 21-day EMA. So we'll keep an eye on that one. If it continues to hold and we see the price, for example, rising somewhere above the high of last week here, near the 18.07 zone, then yes, we could aim for higher levels. We could then target the highest point of June near the 18.32 zone, but if that fails to withhold, then yes, higher levels could be met then. So somewhere we could then target somewhere like something like here, something like the highest point of February, near the 18.94 zone. But again, for now, guys, we are probably going to take a bit of a neutral stand on this one, and initially we'll wait for a pop above the 18.07 level in order to kind of, say, start considering maybe higher levels. And in terms of the downside, now, as I said before, keep your eyes on this 21-day EMA, because currently, as you can see, it is acting as a very nice area of support. But if that gets broken, and if the commodity drops somewhere below the low of last week here, near the 17.38 zone, then yes, maybe lower levels could be met, and we could target levels like the 16.95 zone or the 16.72 zone, marked kind of near the 100-day EMA and the 200-day EMA. So again, that's, by the way, also the low of the 22nd of May. So but yeah, guys, like I said, for now, the probably the only option here for us is to wait, but hopefully kind of the waiting game will end up giving us good results here. So yep, for now, let's be on the safe side, let's be on the cautious side, and wait for that confirmation break. Bitcoin Cash. Now, I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, and let me just kind of recap here and basically show you what's happening. So basically, previously I talked about this range roughly between the 204 zone and the 280.50 level. As you can see, and then I was mentioning basically also inside that range we had like somewhat of a like a symmetrical triangle here as well. So you can see that the lower side of that triangle got broken, and yep, the crypto kind of drifted lower and found support near this lower side of the range, and from where it kind of rebounded and pushed back to the upside. So first of all, let's get rid of these lines, because again, the triangle is no longer valid. But now again, we will focus on this range. So we need to see this one kind of, let's say, if we want to examine lower levels, definitely we need to see a nice good drop below this level here, below the 204 territory, and then we could start lower, aiming for much lower, well, not much, but some lower levels, because such a move would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and maybe more sellers could be joining in. Now, in terms of the upside, as you can see, this level right here, the low of the 15th of June, which is around the 224.30 zone, is acting currently as a good area of resistance. So we did get an overshoot yesterday, but it didn't really quite drift further north, and today we're seeing a move back down below this level. So in a way, the fact that it kind of got violated here, to be honest, what we could focus on mainly here is this high, the yesterday's high near the 227.30 zone. A nice good move above that could, yep, open the door maybe towards some higher levels. However, inside this range, be very careful, because we do have a downside resistance line here. It's a tentative one, but nevertheless, just to be on the safe side, we would prefer to wait for a break of this downside line and then maybe aim for some higher levels within the range, because again, don't forget that we are for now in the range. So that's the kind of game plan for Bitcoin Cash. So let's see which way that's going to break out, but for now we're going to take a bit of a neutral stand. Now, jumping into a few pairs, interesting pairs, I would say. So the first one I want to touch on here is the US dollar against the Russian ruble. Now, maybe you don't look at this very often, but sometimes these pairs do present themselves with nice technical setups. And previously I talked a lot about this pair because we were forming these descending triangles here. So back in May I was talking about this one. Then in June as well I've mentioned this idea as well, that the further declines could be possible here. And as you can see, this downside line got broken, and the pair then tested the 200-day EMA, from which it reversed and pushed higher, and today it's moving above this key area of resistance, which I've mentioned before as well in my previous videos where I was covering US dollar against the Russian ruble. And this level here, the 670.61 territory, kind of got violated today, and we're seeing a further push north. So in a way, this is kind of opening, it seems that it could travel further north, especially if the rate stays above this area today. And if it does, then yes, we'll consider some slightly higher levels. We'll aim for this other key area of resistance, which previously, as you can see, acted as a fantastic area of support, and that's roughly near the 72.63 mark, and then we'll take it from there. US dollar against the Mexican peso, also something that I've looked at recently, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little barrier right here, the 22.81 level, which, as you can see, got broken fantastically, and more, and kind of the buyers are pushing this one, or at least trying to push this one higher. So as I've mentioned before, the next target for us is somewhere around here near the 23.55 level. So let's see if that actually gets reached. Even if, let's say, even if we do see a bit of a correction back down, let's say, as long as the rate remains above this short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 10th of June, we will stick to maybe to the upside still. So yep, that's why, guys, for now be very careful, but still, yep, it is looking quite positive. So let's see if we can reach this 23.55 level, because that's for now, that's our target. In terms of the downside, we would like to see, first of all, of course, a break of this upside line, and then a drop below the 22.2855 level, somewhere around here, marked by the low of the 23rd of June, and at the same time the rate would fall below the 100-day EMA, which maybe some bears could see as a good kind of confirmation of possible further declines. So yep, guys, for now, like I said, it is leaning a little bit more to the upside. So let's see how far it can travel, and in general, can it actually reach our target here, at 23.55 level. Now AUD/USD, so this pair, let me just probably clean up the chart here a little bit, and let me start fresh. Now, of course, the as you can see, the pair kind of overall is kind of climbing higher since the reversal here around the mid-March, but from around the beginning of June, the pair is stuck within this, I would say, even a symmetrical triangle. And let me just quickly put this one on the chart. So yep, it's stuck in this pattern. So basically what we're doing here, we're waiting for a clear break out of this pattern in order to kind of aim for the next directional move. So but in addition to that, let's say, to strengthen the directional move, let's say for the upside here, if we get a break of this this upper side of the triangle, in addition to that, we would like to see a push also above the 0.6975 level here, and then kind of we could consider higher levels. In terms of the downside, preferably, well, if we get a break through the lower side of the triangle, this would also place the pair below the 21-day EMA, and maybe more sellers could see this as an opportunity to step in. But of course, we'll keep an eye on some of these levels here. These 0.6807 zone, a nice good drop below that, yep, could open the door towards further declines. GBPJPY. So the pair here is kind of failing to create a new low for this month, because the low of this month is basically around here near the 131.75 zone. And today, I mean, as you can see, the pair kind of tried to make its way lower, but kind of initially in the morning it was trying to make its way lower, but then it kind of started reversing back to the upside. However, don't get me wrong, the day is not finished yet, so maybe everything can turn around and we can actually create a new low for June. But for that, we would need to see a nice good drop below the 131.75 level first, and then we could consider further declines. But for now, we'll keep it short and simple. For now, we'll probably for the downside, that's what we need. We need to see a break of this 131.75 level. Such a move would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and then maybe we could aim for the 130.68 zone, or even the lowest point of May near the 129.30. In terms of the upside, we need to see a push above the 134 territory here before, say, starting to examine slightly higher levels. And finally, EURUSD. Here the situation is a little difficult, and as this is what I was saying this morning, that still we will remain neutral, because the pair is kind of stuck here within this pattern. Now, it could be a descending triangle, but it's not, because we only have one touch here of the lower side of this potential formation. That's why it's not really that formation yet. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on it, but mainly we're focusing here on this downside line taken from the high of the 10th of June. So, and as you can see, the pair kind of did drift lower today, but failed to move towards this 1.1168 zone, and kind of reversed earlier, and is now back above the 21-day EMA. And this is what I was mentioning as well this morning, because what I was saying, that keep your eyes on this 21-day EMA, because as you can see, it is kind of providing decent support for now. Yes, it keeps getting broken, but it doesn't really allow to for the daily candle to stay below it. So so that's why, I mean, that's why this 21-day EMA kind of becomes something to keep an eye on. And but nevertheless, if we would like to consider some higher levels, of course, first of all, we would like to see a break of this this downside line, and in addition to that, a push above the 1.1353 level could strengthen the upside scenario, and yep, more buyers could be joining in here. In terms of the downside, we need to see a drop below the 1.1168 zone, and then we could aim for slightly lower levels. So guys, I really hope you found it useful. So thank you very much for watching and listening, and if you want to catch my video tomorrow, as always, my Traders Espresso, 6 o'clock GMT time. But for now, guys, I hope you have a wonderful evening, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.